We want to thank you, Speaker of the House. Fantastic person, doing a great job for the state. An Attorney General who's been in the news lately a lot, winning cases. Oh, I wish we had such a good Attorney General like that in New York.
Fox News voter analysis reveals a majority of South Carolina Republicans, about 3 in every 4 voters, see cases against former President Trump as political attempts to undermine the former president and the upcoming election. South Carolina Attorney General Alan Wilson was praised by President Trump last night for not playing partisan politics, and he joins us now. Alan, so great to have you with us.
Thank you for having me.
You had quite a shout out. So let's just get to that really quick. President Trump grateful for attorney generals who are fighting back against this organized effort at what he calls election interference.
Oh, absolutely. Well, he can appreciate what Republican attorney generals are doing around the country, obviously standing up for what the Biden administration refuses to do, which is defend the southern border of our country, to enforce the laws and not use the criminal justice system to attack its own citizens.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the race. So give us some historical perspective about what is happening or what happened last night in the election.
Last night, I think, was historical. I mean, you had a former governor, first daughter of South Carolina, lose by 20 points. That is huge. Now, I know people are trying to to qualify it, but there were 3 ballot questions on last night's election. There was a ballot question on tort reform, judicial reform, and on closing South Carolina's primaries. The question that performed the worst, they were all supermajority questions, between 70 and 90%. The question that performed the worst yesterday in the low 70s was, should we close South Carolina's primaries? What that tells me is there's probably 5 to 10% of the people who voted in yesterday's Republican primary who were Democrats or non-registered Republicans who came in and they were using the open primary system to vote for someone else. So Nikki Haley's numbers were probably in the mid to low 30s, not really at 39 or 40%. So it was a bigger win for Trump than you probably even imagine.
Yeah, and again, it wasn't Democrats just trying to do funny business in the Republican primary. It was Nikki Haley actively trying to get those voters into the Republican primary to do that. And again, you're saying you think among Republican voters, her numbers are much lower than what we actually saw there. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on at the border and what attorney generals like you can do.
Well, first off, what you're seeing happen at the southern border is making every state a border state. In South Carolina, over the last couple of years, I've had to go after Mexican drug cartels trafficking in hundreds and thousands of grams and kilograms of fentanyl and other types of drugs and narcotics into South Carolina. We're having people die. So this is an incredibly important issue for me because South Carolina is every much a border state as, say, Texas or Arizona because of the drugs and the crime that's coming in here. Look at what happened in our neighboring state of Georgia just this week. It's tragic. And they need to do something on the southern border, and they're not doing it. We will, and when President Trump gets there, it'll get closed.
Can you give me one last question, a quick answer? What's Nikki Haley really up to? Because we know she cannot win the Republican primary.
I mean, I think she's going to go until the money runs out, and she's going to take her opportunity to, enjoy her moment. It's certainly not her time. The sooner she realizes it, the better she'll be.
All right. Sounds good. It's really great seeing you. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
All right.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.